Hey there, I'm Sprink, and as you can probably tell, my interest has shifted over to one of the longest running franchises ever, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And to accommodate its length, I will be reviewing all major turtle media. I will be excluding more minor series and most of the comics because I simply haven't been able to read them. I'll do my best not to spoil any major plot points. Now, on to the reviews! And first is what started it all, the original Mirage comic. And I was able to read this as it had fallen to the public domain, but is very good. I can see why it was so popular when it first came out. It moves very fast, and I think that works in its favor, as it is only supposed to be a one-shot, and I'm going to spoil, but in the end, they do end up killing Shredder, and Splinter commends them for this. Like, this is what he had trained them for, and yeah, the backstory is interesting because it's a little more complex than most other iterations. Because one, it is kind of a reference to Daredevil's backstory in the mutating, and also in how Hamato Yoshi gets into that position, as he is not as directly connected to Oroku Saki. It's actually Oroku Nagi, Saki's older brother, that he kills. And I think that's interesting how they're not really fighting over the girl. Saki's fighting for vengeance, and of course he succeeds, and that's why Splinter was out in the sewers. I do recommend it, and I was spoiled on it too, and I did not negatively impact my experience. So, go go read it wherever you find it. Naturally, next is the 1987 cartoon, and I've only watched a handful of episodes. I watched the beginning one and the second episode, and I watched the one where they introduce Casey Jones, but not very much more. Because, I don't love this one, actually. It's just a little too goofy for my taste, and what I came to Ninja Turtles for is the ninja action. It's not to say that it's not bad. There's a reason it was so popular. It got 10 seasons. Just not what I'm looking for. But I do have to give it credit because it is the reason the Turtles have their signature colors, and it really gained a new audience, and really expanded the franchise, and it made it a franchise, as it's not just a comic, now it's a show and toys and figures and stuff. So it's very important to the history of the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I don't love it, but it's pretty good. And now the 90s movies, which very nice. I've watched the first movie 2 times and a bit of the second, the end. I watched the Go Ninja Go part, which is really, really good. The first one, it goes fast like the comic, but is very emotional. I was very engaged, and it was interesting. Unlike most other, unlike the original comic run, it wasn't Leo who faced off against the Shredder, it was Raph, which, it still was very compelling. The impact it had to the franchise was really good, as it kind of combined some elements of the original comics and the cartoon, and it was the highest grossing independent film of its time. On to the 2003 cartoon. I'm only on season 3 right now, and I've watched the first episode of Fast Forward. It also has a movie, which I'm kind of surprised. I haven't watched it yet, as it is a series finale. But the plot is very similar to the original Mirage run, but it takes some creative liberties, and I'd say it's very interesting. I think it's like one of the only good things that came out of 4Kids Entertainment. Very good. I really like the characters and the animation, and April with pink hair. An interesting thing is, as it is much more close to the comics, there's a big tear between fans of this cartoon and the 80s cartoon. And especially since in the movie, which is called Turtles Forever, is crossover between the previous 2 Ninja Turtle iterations, and it kind of paints the 80s as like bumbling idiots, as I've heard. And I guess that's just how the 2003 feels about the 80s. Yeah. And now to the 2012 cartoon. I know I skipped a little bit of time, but this is the first one that I actually watched. So I really have a soft spot for it. I watched and rewatched the heck out of it. But just from the very first episode, I was immediately connected to these characters. It's very emotional. Like, I said I wouldn't spoil anything, but just at the end of season 1, you think that Leo's dead, and I shed a single tear. It was that moving. I like the designs. It's really nice 3D animation, and it really balances old and new plot lines very well. Because it has the Krang from the 80s, but like the farmhouse from the original comics. It's very, very good. And it's the first one with Nickelodeon. So I'm a little disappointed that its final season was mostly aired on Nicktoons, but that's how everything ends up. 2014 and 2016 movies. I watched the first movie, and I watched the second one, but I don't remember very well. But I really, really don't like this. I'm gonna have to say, at least the first one is bad. I'm sorry for fans of this, but I do not agree with you. The second movie is a bit better, but it's mostly just forgettable. This first one, oh man. The pacing is terrible because it builds up the wrong things. 30 minutes into the movie, we're just following April. We haven't even really seen the turtles. And it could be good if we follow April first. That's how the 90s movies started. But I really don't feel April is a very compelling character. She just kind of complains a lot. She's not doing anything. She's just like, oh man, turtles. A little bit of a spoiler, but when they're gonna do the big thing that might kill them, Raph starts gushing on how he actually loves them and he pushed them to be better, blah blah blah, even though they never actually showed any of that. They did not show the turtles and their relationships with each other very well at all. There was only one scene in the sewers, and it was literally just Splinter being way too hard on them when they were training. And I just don't really like this. I I kind of like the reimagining of the turtle design. You know, they look pretty cool, but they also look like really, really, really creepy. And finally, the most recent iteration, Rise of the TMNT. I have watched most of it, only missing a few episodes of season 2. But it's very, very energetic and loud. But it's good. Yeah, I overall really like it. But I just feel like sometimes the pacing is a bit too fast. And like, I have watched shows where the episodes are 11 minutes long. There's just something that they did wrong, and I almost have whiplash after the episodes. But I mean, like, the whole thing is very passionate. They're very passionate about this just new generation of turtles, which are drastically different from everything else, pretty much. Like, all of the turtles, like, have done, their personalities are really, really different than anything else. Like, Leo is a goofball, and Raph is he's very, like, soft and the leader. And, I mean, like, Donnie, he doesn't have social skills in, like, the other way, in that he's, like, way too confident, and I guess he just doesn't know what to talk about, unlike other ones where it's just like, that dude is a nerd. And I mean, like, Mikey, he's not too different. He's still, like, the cheerleader and, like, very fun-loving, but he's a little, he focuses on a little more things than just having fun. It's interesting because it focuses more on, like, mystic stuff other than the aliens, because they have mystic weapons, which are also different than anything else. The animation is absolutely stellar, and when it gets to the finales, it looks so beautiful. And sadly, it got canceled in the middle of season 2, but it is getting a movie, so hopeful for that. Please know that this is only my opinion, and it doesn't make your thoughts any less valid. I really, really believe that all of these pieces of media gives the franchise a rich history. I kind of did a different thing where I did not give myself a super definite script. So I don't really know how it's going to turn out. But I hope you enjoyed listening and like what I drew. I'm gonna list all the series from memory that I left out. So first up, the Next Mutation, which is a really cheap live action show. Like, the costumes don't look terrible, but everything else about it is really bad. There were like 2 OVAs made, and I watched both of them. Like Ninja Turtles, Chojin and Setsuhen or whatever. One of the translations is like Superman Legends, so do with that what you will. There was the 2007 movie, which I was expecting worse and was pleasantly surprised. Oh yeah, there was that little mini spin-off of 2012 that was called Half Shell Heroes, and it was the movie was Blast to the Past. It wasn't bad. It just had Bebop and Rocksteady, and I don't love those guys. There's just all those comics also, like not the IDW. Well, yes, the IDW, but the Mirage and the Image and the Archie and yeah, the IDW. I actually I have a few of the spoiler alert, Jenica gets mutated into a turtle, and I have a few of those comics where it's focusing on her. Very, very good. I really like the art. There's some other stuff that I probably left out, but I'm just going by memory, and I really had fun with this franchise, seeing just all the little extra branches and different little shows and stuff. Uh, so much content in this. I guess that's my sort of outro. And I don't even have anything to list, like fan art or patrons or whatever. But like, comment, and subscribe if you liked it.